and you are so much into, I have it in the blood. You have it in the blood, but you don't have it in your body. Why alien prefer these people? They don't prefer me, that I'm Cuban. My love, because you heard me. For performance, it works. For social, no. Nothing is easy when you want to do it right. So how you know and how you test your skill as a good leader? The word salsa is what we're using. It's actually from Asia. We're dancing to the music. If the music is already a fusion of European and also Africa, that's what it is. The first salsa songs, they were songs cubanos. And La Clave is actually not even African, but
Allen Ramirez, a 24-time world Latin dance champion, shares salsa dancing history from Cuban roots to becoming a global phenomenon. She emphasizes the role of discipline, consistency, and the importance of understanding salsa's Afro and ballroom origins and the need to connect movement with music's essence. Allen shows that Latin dance isn't just about footwork or spins, it's about the grind, the cultural connection, and the soul of the dance.
All right, I'm here with Allen Ramirez. We had to do it again. Thank you for your time.
I'm very excited. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to see you one more time. And I hope people like it. And I know last conversation was very excited and a lot of people learned a lot. It was a lot of people with divide thoughts, but I guess it was educated for a lot of people.
Yes. Indeed, last conversation was very interesting. A lot of great information was shared by you and a lot of interesting insights. So one of the things that you talked about is your upbringing in Cuba and how you went to dance academy and different things that you learned. And you touched on history of salsa. And actually it was one of the videos that got a lot of views and a lot of interest being generated from it. So I wanted to ask you kind of a broad question to talk about salsa history based on what you've learned and, based on information that you've gathered.
Yes. How to start? Okay, I guess last time we were talking about the different styles and the different influence from different parts of the world. The meaning of the word salsa. Yeah, I guess some people even mention, or they still mention about the word salsa is what you're using for your chips. Yes, even in New York, because a lot of people mention salsa is from New York, but the reality, a lot of salsa dancers and musicians from New York, they consider the word salsa just for what we're using for food,
Yes.
which is very interesting. So it's like even in the home city, they have divisions about salsa. And I want to break down that because it's true. The word salsa is what we're using. It's actually from Asia. It was the first people that they introduced different ingredients to create different sauce. Yes. And then, for example, in Mexico, they have different sauce where you dip in your chips and set it up. That's the word salsa. Now, when we're talking about dancing, salsa is a fusion we mentioned about different Latin dances that involves what is salsa these days. In terms of music, is also, we call that the term for music is called popurrí. But when you have different rhythms, kind of like putting together these days, they call it salsa. So for example, if I have una bachata that has bolero and it has bachata, it's already salsa because it's a fusion. Yes. So salsa could be anything, but of course the rhythm, yes, is different, even though they're similar, because in salsa, the rhythm is quick, slow, bachata, quick, slow, tap. Yeah. That creates a different feeling and also interpretation, even though a lot of stuff that we do in bachata, we also do it in salsa previously. Yeah. Now, the information, even in the last video, I mentioned the 80%, we're talking about genes and percentage of what we call salsa these days, regardless if it's from Puerto Rico, that Puerto Rico claim the salsa is from them, regardless that it's from Cuba, because we claim that 80% of that salsa elements, even dancing and music, are from our country. Regardless that New York make it popular and introduce a few jazz instruments to create we can say the revolution of salsa, and what is defined as salsa these days is about that wings instruments. It doesn't matter it is important to define and to say, and I said it in the video, that I cannot say that is 100% mine. It's like, for example, I have a baby. Even though the baby cares more of my genes than my husband, I can say that this is my baby and he doesn't form part of that. You know, it's a collaboration between two people. And that's what I'm trying to say in the video. A lot of people took it wrongly. Salsa is a fusion of different collaborations from different parts of the world, specifically the Caribbean, yes. And then even when salsa from Cuba, it passed to New York. In New York, when these people who were together, musicians, they were actually from the Caribbean. I mentioned Dominican Republic because Johnny Pacheco was from Dominican Republic, and he's one of the creators of Fania, and he made salsa like Cuban style. He just implements some jazz elements, Eddie Palmieri as well, and then give a little twist of the salsa music. The first salsa songs, they were songs cubanos, and they have the lyrics and rhythm. They just implement extra something and then create a new, develop, we can say, and mention. So that's why I say, so one person says, I didn't know that salsa was from Dominican Republic. Yeah, so we have the apportation of Dominican Republic, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, mostly, but also we have new salsas that also has the stamp from Venezuela, groups like, for example, Oscar de Leon, who creates his own, how I can say, identity for salsa. El Grupo Nietzsche from Colombia, that it also has and also have a little apportation. Porfi Baloa, the pianist of Venezuela, all these people, you know, who can actually put, we can say collaborated, or they put some talent to have the salsa where it is to these days. Yes. Even the first time they used the word salsa was in Venezuela in the radio station. And it's because they didn't know how to define this, how I can say, these different rhythms connected in one piece. And they didn't want to explain the public what is potpourri. That word is how you're going to say that. They don't understand music terms. So, but everyone needs to eat. It doesn't matter what is the region they're coming from, and everyone's know what is salsa, because each country had their own salsa. So it was very fast and a fascinating word to kind of like make sure that people understood that it was a fusion of different Latin rhythms, especially from the Afro European, mix that together. So salsa comes aboard because it's a little bit of everything, and that's how they explain it. It is a little bit of everything, and we can call it salsa. And that was the first time they said salsa to define these potpourri rhythms that 80% of them are from Cuba. But before that, we have a son cubano that is actually mentioned the word salsa. The songs, échale salsita. So even the word salsa, it was used before in Cuba. That's why one of the reasons we said that we can, you know, like, how I can say, not talk about salsa without talking about Cuba or Puerto Rico or New York, of course, of Dominican Republic, Colombia, Venezuela. All these people have some participations, and they need to be honored as well. It's not just about Cuba or just about New York, because a lot of people just was talking about New York, New York, New York. But who were the people that were in New York? Caribbean people from Cuba, Principal, New York, Puerto Rico, and Dominican Republic. Yes. So the Caribbean, that's why they call Afro-Caribbean dances or Afro-Caribbean rhythms, because it's a fusion. And like I mentioned also on the broadcast, that is Afro and European, because how New York defines salsa, the way that they define it, using the jazz. But when you listen to the jazz instruments, they're not Africans. They're from symphonies and classical music. Some people also in the interview, they say, what? So you have to be objective. So when you go and listen to the salsa, all these instruments, that the piano, the winds instruments like the trumpet, the trombone, the saxo, they're actually from symphony. And we use that and keep a little bit of the melody and a little bit of the Afro rhythm to create this beautiful mix. And like I mentioned, most of these mixes, before they arrived in New York, they were made in Cuba. And we have to mention and say things the way it is. Afro is important, but I can't, like I said in the broadcast, forget about the influence of the European music and dances, because close position comes from the European dances, from ballroom. So it's important to mention that. I listened to someone who says the salsa is black, is Africa. It is, but you can also say that it's just totally African, because you have the other instruments that they are from classical music and symphony playing salsa, like the guitar or el tres, or like I mentioned, all the wind instruments, the piano, the bass, and all that. They are not African. So you have to be objective and then call things by their name and honor to who need to be honored, you know? It's like the Afro needs the connection, and that connection from the partner work is more from the ballroom, and ballroom need the spice and a little bit the freedom of the movement of the Africans, and together complement, and then born what we call salsa these days for dancing, and also because we dancing to the music. If the music is already a fusion of European and also Africa, that's what it is. So practically, this is in resume what I talk about the last broadcast, the past broadcast, and then I just like reconfirm, you know, to make people understanding. It's not about races, if it's black or if it's white, you know, it's actually about what it is. Some actually salsas, especially for example, Puerto Rican salsa is more about romantic. Yes, it's like a boleros cubanos. We have poetry on their lyrics, but with the salsa rhythm, you know. So Marc Anthony, Victor Manuel, Ray Ruiz, it was the one who defined salsa the way it is in Puerto Rico, the salsa romántica, and he was actually born in Cuba. Yes, when you're talking about philosophy, Rubén Blades, his mom is Cuban, even though he's from Panama. So you can see, you know, how deeply the influence of Cuba in the genes of all these musicians, or most of these musicians, even if they're not have blood related to Cuba, they have the influence of these musicians who traveled before the revolution take over by Fidel to United States. And then people in the United States, musicians, they get inspired by the Cubans. And then the first salsas that they made in New York, they were son cubano, like introducing a little bit of the trombone, you know, from Eddie Palmieri, or Johnny Pacheco, and Tito Puente, who introduced the timbal, because we didn't have timbal. So it creates a little bit of different sound, which is amazing, yes? But it's just a little corroboration. The rest, it was already made in Cuba, yeah? Through the influence of the Africans and also the influence of the Europeans. What is the salsa? They define all the styles, la clave, as an instrument. And la clave is actually not even African, but when these African people were brought from Africa to the Caribbean, especially to Cuba, they actually was bored, because how many hours on these boats, you know, and they're gathered together, not so much oxygen. They were kind of like depressed, and some of them, they took parts, las clavijas, from the boat, and they start like playing with that, you know. And that's how clave was made, by the slaves that they were on these ships using las clavijas. And that's why the name from clavija to clave, because it's 2-piece sticks. Yes. And that's the reason why we call clave. And then kind of born from the African roots, but it's actually being used in Cuban music before they used it even in Africa. Yeah, so it's important to know all these little details. And that instrument is the base of any salsa. Cuban salsa, New York salsa, Los Angeles, Puerto Rico. Even Puerto Rico, they say they dance in clave for a reason as well. You want to ask something?
Only 500 things. You said clave.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so clave was born on a ship?
Yes, from las clavijas. It was like a part of the chips that they were like sticks. They called clavija. And then they took it and they start like playing the African rhythms with that, because they were bored so many hours, you know, in a chip, and they didn't know what to do. They didn't have nothing to do. So they start like with the palms and making some noises and like it's creating the sound for the, how I can say, for the ancestors, you know, using instruments in whatever they have in their arms. And in this case, that's how the history of clave, how it born.
Okay, we'll come back to musical instruments.
Okay.
Put it on the back burner. Just don't forget it.
No.
But I wanted to ask you about chronological history of salsa. If we went even deeper or further back, because just now we talked about more, I think, modern time.
Yes.
20th century
Yes.
sounds like, and how the term salsa came about. But if we look even further back and chronologically try to build a timeline, can you talk about like the origins and how it evolved from the beginning?
Yes, I guess we mentioned last time about it, because we mentioned about, for example, salsa, the way it is these days in terms of gender. We mentioned it has a little bit of la danza, la contradanza. It's like a fusion. It depends also, not all the salsas. It's important to know this. What I'm going to mention is not like all salsa has that involved. It's like some salsa has some genders and other ones that don't have that, you know. It's not like all salsa has, or you need to have all this in general, you know. But some salsa has la habanera, that is a sound that goes with the la cascarilla, el timbal, cha, cha, chi, chi, cha. That part, it creates, or it comes from la habanera. La habanera is a ballroom dance, yes, from Cuba. And it's inspired by danza y contradanza. La danza and contradanza, they are actually from Europe. La contradanza from France, and la danza from England. Yes. So because the people there have this, like, how I can say, in big ballrooms, and they come from the royals, and they, when they arrived to Cuba, they actually took this with them. And then through that, we have developed what we call our own ballroom dances, like la danza, el danzón, el danzonete, la habanera, yeah, that is types of bolero, that are ballroom dances. Besides that, we have the Afro perspective. It's like we have, how I can say, like octopus, different tentacles.
Yes.
Yes. So we have the ballroom dances, but besides that, we also have the Afro perspective. From the Afro, we have originally the rumba. We mentioned last time about the 3 different styles of rumba: jambu, guaguancó, and Colombia. Yes. And rumba is a fusion of flamenco dancing together with Afro from different regions, not mostly Nigeria and El Congo. Yes. And also besides that, we have country dances. The country dances was like a little mix of, as well, of the Africans, and then some of these ballroom dances. And then we have the popular dances and traditional dances. Some of the popular dances, it was just popular from certain time to certain time, and they kind of like flare a little bit or disappear a little bit. Yes. And then the populars are the ones who are remain, and then actually being popular outside Cuba. So you notice it's like 5 different blocks. Just like you have a ballroom or dances, you have country dances, you have from folklore dances, you have the popular, and then you have the traditionals. So it's a lot. And then because that as well, in the beginning, let's talk about the 50s, or 420, the 1920 to the 1960s, pretty much Cubans were traveling a lot to United States, and other United States people were coming to Cuba. Most of the hotels in Cuba, they have casinos inside, like Vegas these days. So we mentioned about that in the last broadcast as well. So how these musicians, they were entertaining these tourist people, or these people who come into these hotels, and then dancers, they're actually part of the format to kind of create the full, I can say, entertainment. You have the music, you have the dancing, even you have circus, and you have acting and singing. So it's like the full package in theater. for those to create a spectacular show for the guests. Yes, and that way they not get bored, because if I am a client that goes to this place and I want to get entertained, and every time I go to see the show is the same show, I don't want to come back, in other words, So they always renovating and innovating. That's why Cuba, in that period of time, they call the island of the rhythm, La Isla del Ritmo, because most of these dances that we dance these days, and actually these days, they're coming from there. But why? Because they have the necessity to always be renovating themselves and innovating new styles of music, because they don't want to feel the guests feel bored, in other words, And in other words, for them as well, it was to make a way to make a living, and they were very inspired, to be available for those people who take them to come to the United States, to go to Europe and other parts of the world as well. So this is pretty much a little bit of the content, how big our vocabulary of music and dance it is. And that's the reason why even Cuban salsa, we can define Cuban salsa as one particular style, Why? Because some people dance more song style, their salsa. Other people like to dance more Afro into their salsa. Other people prefer to dance more elegant and passionate, with like the flamenco feeling. Other people, the lines from the ballroom perspective. And you have all these beautiful dancers that each of them actually express themselves in a different way as well. And these days, you can see this as well. Yeah, for example, a lot of people thought that, okay, the salsa we dance these days, which is in the line, it was made in New York. No, that was made in Cuba. On these places where these dancers were putting together shows for the people, sometimes they do crossbody Lee instead of el dile que no, to create more beautiful lines. But also in one choreo, you have that. In the same choreo, you have like La Rueda de Casino. La Rueda de Casino is actually inspired by La Contradanza. La Contradanza has all these formations that we do in Rueda de Casino. So you notice the salsa gets a little bit of ballroom for formations and holds, but also from the body isolation and body perspective and footwork from the rumba that is inspired into flamenco that has a lot of footwork, and also the contractions, and then the attitude, yes, and then the breathing part from the bouncing of the Afro. Yes, so when you see Cuban dancers, if they're professional, you will see how they are there in terms of dancing. They are beautiful arts. They do a beautiful art because they're complete. They can do footwork. Let's say we're talking about a guy, Michael Fons. It comes into my head right away. It's more dancers, but he was the one in my mind right now. So he can do a line, he can do rumba, he can do body movement, he can do fast footwork, he can do tricks, he can do anything. Yes. In terms of ladies, the same. When it's a Cuban professional dancer, she can do anything as well. Because in their own country, our own country, we develop a little bit of everything. Fast footwork, body movement, the attitude, the flexibility. Most of the Latin dancers of Cuba, they have a good preparation in terms of elongation, the extensions and everything. Yes. And later on, depends on where these musicians and dancers, when Fidel took the power, these casinos were closed because not just the dancing and music entertaining was happening, a lot of illegal, like drugs, prostitution, mafia, etc. So he closed these places. Yeah. Some of them, they were converted into the public things, like community, like hospitals and then schools. Other ones, they remain to be as hotels, but with no more casinos, So, and these people, they don't have more work because they were working for the casinos with the contract to be there entertaining, like Vegas these days, that you have the contract for maybe to be in a show for 1 year, 2 years, whatever. So when this ends, practically they have to run away. Some of them, they went to Mexico, other ones run to New York, other ones to Colombia, other ones to Puerto Rico. And then that way, the Cuban music and Cuban dances starts spreading more around. And each time it spread, it has a little transformation. And that's how the adjustment happens. Let's say if I'm a dancer that I like to do more lines, and then I went to New York, which is that's happening. Now I'm going to do more like a ballroom style, which is amazing because a lot of people think in Mambo, New York, in the beginning, it wasn't as Afro as before, as these days. They were more elegant and they have more ballroom elements and people were more elegant. Yes. And then little by little, they start having more the Afro Cuban influence. And now you can see a little bit, I can say a complete dance. Either you call it mambo or salsa, because right now you have lines, you have fast footwork, you have the body movement, the Afro developed. So similar to what we have in the shows in the casinos, where one show you can see practically the chronologically order and then the combinations of ballroom together with the Afro, together with flamenco, together with everything. And these days you have that in one show of 2 minutes. Yes, but it's not new. It's being done already. And I want people to understand this. A lot of tricks that we did these days and then actually we implementing in hustle, it was actually used in Cuba by people who do circus and then they do salsa and do tricks before it's being done in New York. Because a lot of people give Augie Margo a lot of credits that they did a lot of stuff. And people who don't know, they said that they're first ones. But they have videos that is this being done before in Cuba. A lot of the tricks that they did. Yes. But anyways, this is a little bit about how things kind of spread around and the reason why also spread around. Yes, especially because like when Fidel took the power, all these places were closed and there people start like immigrating and then try to make a living through their art the same way they did it in Cuba, but now in different parts of the world. And then, so you want to know the chronological order of the popular dances and stuff like that, I mentioned that as well on the broadcast. We mentioned about having the song as the pilar or base, and then el mambo born after el song, and then from el mambo el cha-cha-cha, from el cha-cha-cha la pachanga, and from la pachanga la guaracha. And then the fusion of that, that's what we call salsa. Plus, not just that, the rumba, the flamenco, bolero, danzón, danzonete, danza, contradanza, pilón, Mozambique, that they actually popular dances that it has a short term of popularity in Cuba, but still remain as traditional dances as these days. And then country dance, each region from the 13 provinces that we have, they have their own country dance. It means it's a lot to learn, a lot to understand. El Nengón, which is one of the son montunos, is specifically from my province, Provincia de Bayamo o Granma, from Cauto Cristo. Yeah. And then from there you have from El Ciego de Ávila, they have other country dances. Each place has their own country dances. So it's a lot to still learning and implementing and then share with the world still.
2 questions about Cuba in particular.
Yes.
What do they call, when people don't dance in Cuba, do people use term salsa in Cuba when they dance?
Yes, we still use, or we use the word salsa, but some people use the word casino. It's similar to what happens with the word salsa. The word salsa is for the food, yes? Now, casinos, this is where the first places where these dancers together with the orchestras, they create the fusion of el son with the round coming from la contradanza to create these formats. And then they saw the dancers doing that as a show. They became popular between the among of the around the dancers that they were there as well. Not dancers, social dancers. Yes. So they start imitating these people or these dancers and they start executing pretty much the same formats and they start having syllabus. And that's the reason why some people call salsa casino, because born for the very first time, they did that on the casino. So we're talking about in the 40s when this happening. Yes. But really it gets the impact like a world, not worldwide, like national wise. They start doing some the programs for dancers to compete and everything. Pretty much on the in the 70s. That's when there was a boom. Yeah. So, but before that, they already been made or being created by artist people, dancers specifically. And then people start imitating that, some social dancers. Yeah. So that's the reason why some people call salsa, other people call salsa casino, other people just call it casino. But when you say casino, it's the place where you go to play. Las maquinitas, the machines. Yes. So it's not I can say that it's not the right completely word to use because the term is not complete. But so you say salsa casino, and then right away it says, okay, that's the reason why it's being made in casinos, and then referral to where it was born or where it was done for the very first time. Plus also, si you notice, they have la ruleta, the round thing for in el casino. And then most of the salsa casino, especially for couple, for a group, is made in the rueda. So it's kind of like referral as well to that casino where they play la ruleta. I don't know how to say that in English. Makes sense? But also, when you dance with a partner, you notice or you will find out that some people dance salsa casino with some song influence. And they dance like back and forth, like New York, yes, or LA. And then also they can do like in the rueda. Yes, it's like a fusion between New York, for people who don't know, the New York in Los Angeles, plus the 360 around, like la ruleta del casino. Yeah. So, and some people prefer just to do salsa like back and forth all the time, like New York and Los Angeles. And that's what I'm saying, that people think that Cuban salsa is just one way. We have so many ways to express and to execute that sometimes when you put a stigma or you put a title, it's like you have to stick with that because if you do something else, you're wrong. No. And you're free. You can do a crossbody or un dile que no, which is more rounded. You can do un paseo, which is pretty much like in ballroom. They go all over around the floor. And by the way, ballroom people go to Cuba to learn ballroom dances and popular dances as well, to implementing in Latin ballroom as well. Makes sense a little bit. So just to kind of close with the question. So yes, some people call salsa Cuban style. Some people call salsa casino. Some people call casino. Some people call rueda. Yeah. When you mention rueda, it's more when you are more with the group. When you say casino, for me, it's more about partner work. But it's better if you say salsa casino, so people know that you refer to the music and the dancing style, and not just to the play to gumbo. Make sense?
I can also say salsa cubana, right?
Of course.
So that would be equivalent of salsa casino.
Exactly.
Right? So if I want to learn salsa cubana, my perception of it, tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right, but my perception of it, it's circular motion and half circular sometimes.
Yes.
Moving around each other, changing places. And it's a base, right? That's what's happening throughout the dance. And my observation so far, I haven't taken any Cuban salsa lessons. I really want to. I've taken salsa caleña, and I think there's some similarities with some movements.
Yes.
And it seems to me that those styles more predicated on connection versus if I'm looking at Mambo New York or LA Soul Zone 1, those things predicated on having some skill set. So, in other words, if the lady cannot do a right turn properly, or if she cannot, change positions appropriately, then it seems like they're going to have more difficult time. Is that correct? Like, would you? Yes, it could be. Let me tell you something.
I've been dancing, like we can say LA style, New York style for more than 20 years. And I really remember the first classes that I took for both style, LA style and New York style, a lot of miscommunication. Remember when you talk about how in Cuba we learn dance? That's really like it was a, how I can say, a punch when I came, because no explanation about tempo, music. Is just about learning patterns with some counts, and sometimes that didn't even connect with the music at all. You know, that was what was my first experience. And then having a little bit a issue and had a count and made more important on the count than the feeling and the rhythm. But it helped me later to really like make people who doesn't have rhythm or they never listened to that music before to be available to break down for them. That was the good thing about New York style for me, and also Los Angeles style. Since I was coming from gymnastics, ballet, and everything, and all this training disciplines, it was easy for me to get right away the tricks, the turns, and everything. But definitely, I guess in every salsa style, the gentleman need to adjust according to the person is dancing with. Because maybe what you can do with me, maybe in the same song, so you dance to another person that is a beginner, you might have to apply a different technique and a different energy. Last time we talked about energy as well. Yes. So what happens is I don't have the concept of energy in my mind and the rhythm and connection essence of music. We talk about that as well, which is no matter what salsa you're dancing, that is important. It's not like just you need essence for Cuban salsa. No, you need essence for all the styles, you know? So, but see, I'm focused a lot in the technical skills. Guys, which are the ones who lead, they will be a little bit frustrated. So some teachers, they made the concept of for the guy more easy. So I hear teachers, with all respect, saying, okay, guys, you just do this, and she's turning by herself. And then the lady has to learn by herself how to turn without feeling that the guy's giving the momentum from their core or for the hands or for the achievement of the way. Yes. And then for years, you see that people, the guys looks like a stick. And then the ladies are the one who doing all the job. Yes. For performance, it works. For social, no. Because if you're dancing with someone, it's amazing. She will do the job for you, compensating what you're missing. We talked about that also last broadcast. But she's a beginner. She don't know how to compensate. So you as a leader have to tell her like a baby, listen now, 1 step, 2 steps, now go up, now come here, you know, to guide very well. So see, you've been learning by years that you just do this and then she just go like a magical, you know, like a just having like a extra common sense to know what she needs and what she wants. And then you became to have that habit. And then you will be looking good. One more time, we talk about that. To look impeccable all the time or once in a while so. So it means that if I'm not a good leader, I'm just going to look good with the good artists who can, or dancers who can make me look good. But for beginners, I don't know how to handle it. So how you know and how you test your skill as a good leader, when you can have a decent dance, either with a beginner, intermediate, a person, advanced, or professional. See, your success, it means that your technique is impeccable. Makes sense? So in other words, it's not like for dancing New York style, you have to have more skills than dancing Cuban style. No, you have to have the same skills no matter what. Because what happens, I see people, they are good in New York styles, and then in Cuba style, they're not great. Why? Because Cuba style, they have to adjust their energy in different perspective. Their body shape is more diagonal. Now they're elongated more. They have to pivot more. See, they don't pivot in the foot, their body's not going to adjust to the direction, and they looks robotic, and then they don't look good. It makes sense? So it means that the guy also who is going to lead you has to take you with the body momentum also to tell you, let's go this way, let's go that way.
All right, let's go there. I'm glad you brought it up. Let's go there. What are the non-negotiables for you as a teacher for leads and for follows? Like when you teach someone, let's say you're doing a private with me, and I brought my partner who's a female, and you giving both of us a rundown of foundational things that we must have to succeed as dancers. What are those non-negotiables for you?
The main basics. Main basics are A basics. Marching in place, I will do it with my hands. Shifting your weight back and front and back and back, side by side, diagonals, diagonal back, crossing front, crossing on the back. And that comes from the body connection. Yeah, your body, when you're shifting the way, you tell me go back twice. When you're coming back, you tell me come with me forward. When I go sideways with the body, she will go side. If I twist my body, she will go diagonally. If I'm over rotating, over cross, she will over cross. So that's not negotiable. If I do the steps without the guy telling me with their body as well, what is the direction that I have to take, it's not going to be successful. Plus also the right turn, left turn. That's basic things. Because from a good preparation from your right turn and left turn, from there you can do beautiful and amazing things. You know, some people say, oh, Alien, your name goes with your staff. You're from another planet. No, I'm not from another planet. I'm using basics, and I demonstrate that, especially in the privates in my classes, how basic I am. And then from that basic, I develop and create art and poetry and tell you a story with the body. Yes, but coming from respecting the rules and respecting the basics. A lot of people think that for them to be originals and creative, they have to break the rules. And then that's when they break themselves into injury. Yes, so that's not negotiable. Rules are rules, and it's made by being respect. And then when you have that clear, you will be successful no matter what area of your life, especially for dancing, which is important for me to be clear, because we don't talk. How we talk? Through their bodies. How we can create the connection in the language of the body? Through some syllabus or some fundamentals or some technical aspects. So if I respect that, I'm very clear with you in terms of body language, and then the person can respond. But say I do it halfway, the response is halfway. How come I want? That calls also empathy. And also having common sense. You know, I want you to look good, but I don't do my part. I don't respect you. I don't have empathy for you. And what happens? The result's not going to be there. So I have to put myself first in order for the energy to come aboard and to flow very well. So guys has reality a lot of responsibility, because the guys are the ones who actually are supposed to be leading. So they're listening to the music, they're adjusting the essence of the music to their own bodies from their transfer to their partners. I'm the result of what you give me. In this case, in these days, like in relationship, the guys are not guys anymore, and then we do the jobs of the gentleman to survive. So for dancing, sometimes, sorry, I have to kind of like do what they need to do. But at the same time, I do it with empathy without pushing the guy down, so he can be educated by an example, you know? Make sense? So sometimes when you're nice to the person who doesn't deserve it, you're giving a lesson, and the person opens up their eyes and then figure it out. Okay, I need to work on this. But depends how you do it. The manner that you use. Because in our way as a lady to correct the guy these days, this is for the ladies, we try too hard and then push so much energetically the feeling of the gentleman and the mojo down. Like pointing out the difficulties that they do have. Instead of helping them to fix them, we push them down. That's why the guy block themselves. And also the teachers. The teachers sometimes not actually teaching the right thing, maybe for business purpose, so that way they can stay longer with the student, or the student can be there stuck for a while. Yes, and then when they get frustrated, that's when they give them the solution. You know, this is a marketing way. In other ways, because the teacher not well prepared to know how to teach to create a good leader, or simply this person, he needs to be a lead themselves, and they have a nice girl who do everything for them. They make them look good, and then they think they know what they're doing. It makes sense? So it's a lot of things that need to be fixed, but it's a process. It's little by little, and then that's the reason why we have teachers and teachers. And then coming about my perspective, when people come to me for classes and privates, I'm rather to give in 1 hour a good fundamental that will help you to develop the community and good teachers and good dancers or good social dancers or good athlete people who are competing or the show or so I want that. It's not about, okay, I'm not going to give you the full information because you want to stole that information and you're not come back anymore to me, and my business is going to be now less clients. For me, it's reverse. The more I give you, the more I receive, because that calls karma. Yes, and I have a responsibility for my community. I want people to feel safe. It is not about just sexually safe. It's also about safe technically and connected. So when I'm dancing with someone or someone dance with my students, they can feel the difference and be having a pleasure dancing with them. It's not about, remember we mentioned about last time, to do so much is how you do it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it, and try, of course. But try if it's possible previously. It means don't just try to go to the social floor and try to see if the dip is going to happen at that time. If you can go to teach, to take a lesson with a teacher and to prepare earlier, everything, even Cuban style, you need to be taught. It's not like I'm just learning. Some people has the how I can say, the ability to learn just by watch, but most of those people, they already have a dance background, so they know their bodies, so they just watch and they can mimic or copy because they know how to hold down to their bodies. They have a main base technique. But so you never danced before in your life, better go to the studio. And some people, one time, this is a good sample. I have an amazing ballet dancer that came to me and I say, Alien, treat me like I have two left feet. I say, but you're amazing. You're a good dancer. I say, no, but I want to learn really, really the fundamentals and the basics because I really want to understand and break the points of the Latin dance, because my energy and my posture is a different perspective. How humble she was, being an amazing ballet dancer. As soon as I give a little tip, bam, she gets it. But she came with a mentality that she's already good in ballet and she's very professional, and then dance and the Royal Ballet and stuff like that. When she tried to do it, because she has that ego, she's not going to really learn. It's like learning a new language. You might be having a nice linguistic in Spanish. You try to learn English, you have to go to the school. You need to practice. And that's the formula. We mentioned about that. Discipline and constancy as well. It doesn't matter if it's dancing or whatever skill you're learning, you have to go to a process, and that will help you to be success. So in other words, it doesn't matter if it's a Cuban style, you will find out, or even bachata. People say, oh, I want to dance bachata because it's easy than salsa. When you get to bachata, you find out that you have to breathe, you have to develop the body change, the way to develop the body waves. You have musicality instruments that you have to follow, and then the connections of the partner work is different from salsa, but it's very similar, but it's different. So you start actually understanding that nothing is easy when you want to do it right. When you want to do something nice and right, it's going to take a process for you to take you to the perfection or near the perfection. And then, of course, you don't have to wait to be perfect to try, but you have to be responsible. So you can try why you don't take lessons previously to come to the dance party. So that way you can have better communication. Remember, we're talking about with the body. Yes. So that way you can understand better and enjoy better, the moment and the social moment, which is we're talking about with our dance skills and our dance flow. And it's not about show off. It's more about connection. But even to connect, we need to listen to the music. We need to understand the points of what the music is trying to say to you. Even you don't know the lyrics, at least the essence and then the energy that is on the music. Makes sense a little bit.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm going to ask more of a personal question, what happens to me, because sometimes when I go from doing individual shine into partner work, sometimes I feel like I'm losing balance, or something happens to where I don't know if it's me or I don't know if it's my partner, but I feel like I am not efficient at dancing. So I'm curious from your perspective, is there, obviously I'm asking a general question, you have no way of evaluating me like during the interview, but in general, what is this dynamic between using your own body weight when dancing by yourself versus dancing with someone doing partner work? Like, are there some things that you can highlight?
Yes, definitely. Yes. So what happens, for example, so for some partner works, especially the hats, we call that in Cuban syllabus, like putting the hat, take it off the hat, you can put it to her, take it off to her, and the hangers where you hang your clothing, which is this action with the elbows. So those, for example, especially the hat, it has the elbows connected to the shoulder line more parallel. So you have this action, yes, and using the core for momentum. So you have body movement there. So you just do this, it became to be rough for the lady, yeah? The another perspective, when you go here, you have to use more diagonal core to kind of like enter, like a scooping, so that way you don't hit her. You know, so many people who especially dance, New York style and Los Angeles style hits me because they, in Cuba, salsa style, you know that we use more rotations for the 360. If I'm taking my partner into like hammerlock hanger, the hammerlock, I get out from there, and the hanger, my body already are twisting because the angle. So that avoids the heat. But since you go back and forth in salsa on one and then New York style on two, that's when it happens. So even see, I'm going back and forth, I need to do the core as if I'm doing salsa Cuban style, even though I'm not stepping around. So, but the core movement, it should be. Yes. So depends on the partner work, you might use your body, like shift of the way front or back, or side by side, or diagonal. Depends on the partner work. And some people, they've been taught that it's front and back. So they try to do all the partner work in that perspective of shifting away. That's when some drastic things could happen, like breaking nails. It happens to me, pulling your hair, like hitting you, or whatever, you know. The other things, for example, for shines, when we're doing shines, most of the time when we do shines, we should have the elbows out. When you're keeping the elbows out, your lats are more tighter. So your energy is focused from the hips below, so you can be faster on the foot. For example, Colombian style, when they do their footwork, so you will see that they're moving either here or here, but the elbows are out. To be tiki pa, tum tum parara, tum tum, to hio cha cha cha, to hio cha cha cha. If I go with the elbows parallel, thinking that I'm doing, for example, sombreros or hats, to hio cha cha cha, I'm already, my elbow is passing my back, and that kind of creates a push. So it's telling me come back. So when I'm coming back, I'm actually getting away from my center and my balance. Now, if I have to from there to go back to the partner work, I have to come back to the center. So majority of the time when that person feels that they're getting away from their center or losing balance is because their elbows is in the wrong location or the wrong position. So, and most 90% of the time because the elbows are passing their back. So you're breaking your frame. The frame, it doesn't matter if you're dancing with the partner, close position, open position, or doing footwork, your frame, it means your arms being more into you. So close to you. Even if I open my arms, I cannot have them here because I'm stretching the elbows, locking the elbows. And now that also kind of creates in my brain like I'm doing a position. So I can really function in my body movement or my footwork. An example, let's say a shimmy. If my elbows are passing my back, look at how the shoulders are elongated from here to here. So now I try, I'm having a hard time because the elbows. But if I place the elbows diagonally in front of me, I cannot move too much because this is going to fall. It will go right away with no, how I can say, not so much effort. So it go very smoothly. For styling, look at the hands right here, elbows in front of you. If I keep it to the side, if I do the hand styling, the hands taking my way away and I losing my balance, plus also I can lose the rhythm, I can lose the essence, I feel uncomfortable, I don't look good. And then it's like, how I can say, the domino. One piece is pulling the other one down, down, down. So that's why also technique is important. Even for rumba and afro, how we communicate with the person, we're not holding hands. We mentioned about that last previous broadcast as well. My core and my hands, and then the hands are talking. That's why Cuban people, black people, we use, so much the hands, because the hands tell you a story. Yeah. Or Chum, she loves the gold bracelets. So she's kind of like telling you, buy me bracelets. She has the crown. Yes. So she's holding her crown while she's dancing. Yes. She has a long dresses. For example, Jen Manya creating the waves of the ocean using the long skirt, you know? Yeah. Chango has boots, so he put the boots. Yes. Elegua has el garabato to open the roads for the other people on the tribe come. So he kind of like had this, like holding the piece of stick of wood. Yes. So it's kind of like telling your story, you know, your hands actually giving you a picture of what's going on. Yes. So that's the reason why in our culture, people sometimes we are like, too much, that sometimes too distracted. Yes. But hands in general is important. So it's telling me, okay, I like you. Whatever I give, I receive. Yes. Either it's a connection with the person or it's connection with the spirit and energy, because that's the reason why we talk about energy, or it's talking about the three forces, you know, the sky, the center, which is the people, and the earth. And that's why also movements and sounds, sometimes the waves is high, sometimes in the middle, sometimes down. And also for movement and projection, sometimes up, sometimes in the middle, sometimes down. Yes, depends on the sound, but also the sound, it was projected by the spiritual connection of the person or musician to their gods and to the natural forces. Yes. Connecting to you. So my hands, if I'm connecting to you and the hands are on the back, it's like, what connection is that? It's kind of like confusing. Makes sense? So talking about that frame is not just for ballroom. It's also to connect with the ancestors, connecting with the person makes more sense about Shango. Look at Shango over here. No, you hyperextend your elbow, and that can also have an injury. Yes. Ballroom, the same thing. If I'm doing a line, I cannot have my hands here, my core here. I should either the core tells you go, but so you have the core straight, the hand goes along, you have to be very flexible not to get hurt, you know? So technique is very fundamental in order to be successful. And little by little, people that they said that they had this in their blood, Cuban people, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Colombians, Venezuela. This is our culture. We're born with that feeling. We don't need classes. And then the Korean guy, the Kazakhstan, Russian guy, whatever, that is not part of their blood, they do stuff good. And as a girl, I prefer to dance with a Russian or with the Kazakh boy or with the Korean or Japanese and Chinese. I say, why alien prefer these people? They don't prefer me, that I'm Cuban. My love, because you hurt me, because you don't have technique, because you need to work in yourself. And you are so much into, I have it in the blood. You have it in the blood, but you don't have it in your body. So what I need is for you to have your body connected with me, so that way we can have a body thought, body communication, body language, because that's what is dancing. It's a translation of the music through their bodies. Yeah. So it's important to take lessons. And I travel a lot. We mentioned about that. And it's very, ¿cómo se dice? How I can say? Impressive. When I mentioned about Asian countries and Russian, you guys are amazing. And I'm like, wow, these people that they are not having this in their blood, why they are so amazing? Because they're discipline and constancy. And that tells you that with discipline and constancy, it beats just the passion, and it beats just whatever you have here. Yes, you can have something in your mind like a visual, but so you don't work, and what you have in your vision and in your head is not going to be materialist. Right? You need to work in both. You need to work in your mind and your self-confidence, but also work with action to kind of create that communication and that connection. Now, when you see a Caribbean gentleman who is actually has a the heart in the blood, know about the rhythm, and also has the same communication with their body, it's really a pleasure to dance with this person because it takes you to a next level. It's like another holy spirit connection. It's something beautiful. It might be the same thing with you. You may be dancing with people that are not Latin and they are amazing, but so you're dancing with someone is amazing as this person, but it's Latin as well. You can feel different experience, a different touch, a different, I don't know how to explain it. It means that it's not so much about having in the blood. It's actually about like making worth it. And then for that, constancy, discipline, and then be more aware, It's not just like when you go to club that you're drinking a lot and you just do side by side steps on montuno. And then here people will be a little bit boring. So you just do that and they don't want to dance with you. They will prefer to dance one more time with a person that is not Caribbean, but they actually can offer something else because I'm already took lessons as a lady. So I want to demonstrate that I know how to do other stuff and I have other skills as well. And then I can have a better vocabulary of dancing than just basic side by side. Very important. Some people worry about show off one more time and they don't enjoy it. That's another important detail. Because if you try hard to impress me that you take lessons and you're not connecting with me and connecting with the music, what is the point? So we have to have different points clear, So connecting for me, if I do a basic side by side the whole song, 2-minute song, but the person is really connecting with me, enjoying with me, I'm enjoying more than when the person is very advanced and they do so much stuff that they don't let me breathe. I'm like finishing one step and then the next steps comes like I'm performing for 2 minutes. Imagine 2 hours of that if each guy dances about the same. It's a killing machine, especially for the ladies. So important, don't always try to do so much and impress and adjust to the level of the person and have empathy. Si alguien already worked so much on the festival, at nighttime she wants to relax, don't perform with me in the dance floor. Make sense? So really connect and enjoy it. That's the reason why a lot of professional dancers, they don't like to social dance because they get scared. Our bodies is our tool. If someone try to impress you, and then the funny thing, they don't want to be in the dance team, they don't want to perform, but on the social floor, they want to do the free show with you. I'm like, I charge a lot to this to this promoter to perform, and you just want to perform with me. I charge my students to do pro-am, and you just want to do the pro-am with me right now, like for free? No, of course I will do it just to, how I can say, because I don't like to say no and then make people disappointed. But it's actually, this interview is for that, to educate people and to make people more conscious about it and knowing what we like or not as a professional dancers.
Yeah. But I only danced with you one time. We didn't perform. We had
No, we
collection.
really enjoy, connect, and I love it.
Here we go.
Yes. And it's important because I mentioned this because a lot of people really wants to impress too much, or they want to, I can say, like a showcase that I'm being studied a lot and I know this technique and I don't. Of course, if you do so with a nice communication, if the song asks you for it, yes, ask you for that, of course. Yes, everything has to go in the right momentum.
So, is it fair to say that not knowing a lot of moves could be blessing in disguise?
Yes, definitely. It's like, for example, let's say I'm a doctor, and then when I'm next to another doctor, we use some terms between us. But if I am with my husband and my husband is not a doctor, I need to talk to him more simple, and I'm going to enjoy it or even enjoy more. Yes? Every occasion, every song, every person is magical and has their own in change, So it's not like I have to look like Michael Fons. All the ladies, I need to be looking like Grisel Ponce, Alian Ramirez, Tania Carnaza, Bercy Cortez. No. Be yourself and connect with the person. Sometimes I've been off time, even broken technique, just to have something work, which is connecting with the gentleman, just to work with his own language. And some people in some videos, how come this person, they said that she's the best in the world, and look, in this video she's off timing? Because I want to connect with the guy. If the guy is off timing, I might need to be off timing to follow him. If not, I have to stop the dance and tell him, let's do this timing. You know what I mean? Sometimes I've been off in purpose just to be available, to follow him, to connect, which is my main mission is to connect with the gentleman and connect with the music. But even the person, because the empathy, for me, the person is more important than the music. Because maybe he doesn't understand the same vocabulary as me. And maybe the music is telling you, tus oya, and he don't know what is oya, for example, which is a Cuban orisha, a African orisha. And I have to just do basic, some basic, and then now I'm going to let go to start doing oya movement. No. Yes. Even though it's important for the people to be educated, but for me, the connection and empathy for the human being and make the person welcome to the community. At the end of this day, it's not about the ego of Alien Ramirez. It's more about the community and make people to feel welcoming, and then make people to, little by little, make them understanding that it's important to study, to be educated, to have manners, how to ask the lady to dance, escort her after dancing, how to smell, how to dress up properly. It's a culture. It's a lifestyle. How to, I don't know, gum after you're eating, not so you're eating and then dance, stuff like that. Little details that is really, it will make it, the experience different and then magical for the person that you're dancing with. It's not about like being like Gucci and Prada and all that. It's about whatever you have in hands, be polished, be beautiful, because people like beautiful things. And then when you feel comfortable around beauty, you connect better. When you smile, yes?
Last thing. I know I have to wrap it up. I don't want to, but you started telling me about musical instruments, specifically about clave and how it came about, which is fascinating. I wanted to ask you another question though, because last time we spoke, you mentioned that some instruments meant to be danced on one only, and some instruments meant to be danced on two only. And you mentioned that clave could be danced on both, on one or on two. Can you go into more details? Can you give examples what specific instruments should be danced on one only and what specific instruments should be danced on two only?
Yes. So example is more the on one choices, the on two choices. That's the reason why I guess for a very long time, on one it was more popular than on two. Little by little, the on two kind of like get more protagonism, because the people who start like getting out, like the artists, people feel more connected because they relate to the breathing. Remember the energy and the breathing, yes? And then when everything is too energetic, it began to have stress. And already we have so much stress in our lives. And so you put the news and it's so much tragedy that already keep your cortisol level so high that when you see a routine that from the beginning to the end is too excited, and then few in a congress, 10 routines that are the same, and then someone comes and breathes and do more the Afro-Cuban perspective, you get more related. And that's what happens to Mambo. Mambo give that break, that give that breathe, and people start falling more into Mambo. That's why right now people are more into the on two. Yes, because people who are dancing on two these days, they try to kind of create a chronological order without being chronologically into salsa. So they have a piece that is full. They have Cuban style emotions. They have a New York Palladian style, New York Bourbon style. They have the fast turns of the Los Angeles. They have the tango movement, who Alex da Silva, my ex-dance partner, put with me and with other dancers implementing. Yes, and little by little has all this, how I can say, explanation in one piece about what should be salsa these days or mambo, like a full product of diversity, so it's a little bit for one for it. In competition also, we see the same thing. So we're looking for the best salsero, means that the person can do the most variations in the right way. If it's pachanca, do it right. Mambo, the same thing, song, afro, whatever, rumba, cumbia, bomba en plena from Puerto Rico. So see, the music says so, execute it right, and then the best who can execute them the more beautifully is the winner. Pretty much that's the reasons of the competitions these days, yeah? So the dancers can prepare themselves. So talking about the music, is less instruments to dance for us to dance on two than on one. So example of that, la cascarilla del timbal. The timbal is to dance more on the first beat or whatever on tempo, 1, 3, 5, 7. But la cascarilla del timbal is for us to kind of create more of the on two feeling. Yes, el bass is another instrument to help you to the 2 and then the 4 to be more enforced, or the 6 and the 2 and then the 6, the 4 and the 8. Yes. So for example, la clave, when the pattern is 2, 3. So it means that it has the 2 sounds, a pause, and then the 3 sounds consecutive. An example, pa, pa, pause, pa, 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 pa. Esta posecita, that little pause right there, or that little space, is for us to tell, okay, it's more the on 2 feeling for me, or the offbeat feeling for me to dance more on 2. Yes, so we have la clave, 2, 3. We have la cascarilla del timbal, which is the outside part of el timbal. We have the bass, which is also going to help us, especially to be more breathable. Tung, 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 tung. You see how I'm taking more deep breath there? La cascarilla de timbal is more to be more even and broad. Cha, cha, chiqui, cha, chiqui, cha, chiqui, cha, cha, chiqui, cha, chiqui, cha. The breathing of the bass is help me to get up and down. La cascarilla del timbal, more sideways. La clave, sharper. Pa, pa, sideways but sharper. Pau, pa, 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 pau, pa, 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 pa. Pa, pa, pa. Yes, the feeling is different. So each instrument tells you how you should approach or how you project energetically, because each instrument, it has a different projection of energy. Yes, and then the last but not least, the drum, las congas, cucum, pa, y cucum, el simple tumbao, cucum, pa, y cucum, pa. The cucum made me breathe, cucum, pa, more sharper, pa, y cucum, pa, y cucum, pa, and I can use diagonal. Blow diagonal, blow diagonal, blow diagonal, blow diagonal. And this pattern is the one that mostly they use in New York, the drum or conga. In Puerto Rico, they use more la clave. In LA, they use more the voice of the singer and el piano. That's the melody. Yes. In Colombia, la campana, el cowbell, which is on 1. Yeah, the piano, the voice of the singer is on 1 too. So you follow that, it will tell you what do you dance. Yes, but some songs, the main energy is in the piano. If the piano doesn't have the montuno feeling, it has more the melody base. Even if you dance on 1, you're on 2, your on 1 will be more stronger. So you dance con la campana, your 1, 3, 5, 7 will be stronger. Even though you're breaking on 2, energetically, you will be dancing more on 1. Yeah, because a lot of people relate it to the tempo according to your break. So you're breaking on 2, it means that you're on 2. But inside that, you have numbers. Depends on the proposal of the instrument, you highlight that instrument. So you can be dancing on 2, highlighting on 1, la campana. That's the reason why you can be stepping in the same practically tempo, but highlighting different essence of the music according to the instrument that you follow. Yeah, that's the reason why la gente de Colombia, people from Colombia, when they dance in la clave, pa, ki pa, ki pa, ki pa, 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 tiki pa, they can kind of create the feeling of being with the knee, repicar, pa, ki pa, ki pa, ki pa, 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 ki pa. They don't go pa, ki pa, ki pa, Ki pa, pa, ah, no, because that's more for the drum. Pa, and this pa is more like un repique, because la campana. Cencerro, cowbell. Sorry, Spanglish here. Kind of makes sense. So
Yeah.
those instruments, one more time. So you have la clave 2-3. You have la cascarilla del timbal. You have the bass and you have the drum. Yours for them too. El piano that sometimes can have the montuno vibe, and also the winds instrument can have that montuno feeling on the chorus part. Yes, but mostly the rest of the instruments, la guitarra, el tres, piano, trumpet, trombone, saxo, violin, flute, all that is to more on one. Guiro, on one. La maraca, more for than one. Yes? But not because it's more instruments on one, it means that salsa is on one. Because one more time, not because Alien has more of the genes of the daddy, the mommy didn't work on it. Both of them collaborate for me to born. Yes, my mom is darker, my dad is very white because he has from the Spanish. Yes, my mom, she's more from the dark side because she has from the native Indians of Cuba, we call Tajinos. So it's like I don't look like I belong to my mom's family because my color. So it's kind of weird, but she's still my mom. It means that it doesn't matter if the instruments on one or on two, I have to have, in order to be a good salsero, a little bit of everything and not just always looking just the Afro part and forget about the other side and vice versa. Just do the Latin ballroom or ballroom and forget about the Afro, because remember we mentioned about Afro make you breathe better, help you to actually create different essence and different feeling on the songs. Each salsa song has the montuno part. The montuno part is more for us to be develop more of the African bouncing and then the breathe. Yes, but not all the salsas from the beginning to the end has always the bouncing. In some other salsas, they actually have from the beginning to the end that essence. So we have to listen in order to connect according to the proposal of the music. At the end of the day, one more time, our GPS is the music. The music will tell us, even if we don't understand the lyrics, how the main essence of the song should be interpreted.
Well, that's the thing. The reason I ask that is because, funny enough, some people will ask you, why don't you dance on two?
Me?
No.
Oh, you?
No. Some people.
Yeah.
People in the community will ask you.
It's true. Actually, I like because sometimes people feel comfortable. And let's say I'm taking lessons on one, maybe I have more refreshed that essence. And then other people, they already been taking lessons in both, in any style salsa. But remember, this is a congresses, the people from different countries. I was in Hawaii last week for a private party, and then in the party were 20 people. And then believe it or not, 10 of those people were from different nations. From the 20 of them, 10 from different nations. And then in one Congress, you have 60, 70, 80 people, and we have 200 countries in the world. And then you have 80 people from different countries in one place dancing. It doesn't matter in their beliefs, the language, what they speak, everything is about music and dancing. That's our main language there. And then how I know, how do you feel comfortable? That's the reason why I like when guy ask. I don't take it like, oh, damn, I can follow whatever, because he don't know me. So I like when the person says, what do you prefer? It's like, for example, you invite me to eat out. You don't know si I'm vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, or whatever. So you're asking me, what is your diet? What do you like to eat? So you can plan ahead what restaurant you will take me to. Imagine if you take me to a Caribbean, Brazilian parrillada, just meat. I am vegetarian, so we are in the wrong place. So that's the reason why it's important to ask, do you like to dance on one? Do you like to dance on two? You like to dance Cuban style, It's nice when the guy asks. I guess the more the guy are prepared, the more he can enjoy it with the different ladies, because some ladies, they just let it go and follow. But other people or the other ladies, they are specific in one style. So I guess communication before the action, it is important. Even sometimes myself, people ask me to dance, and then I have the initiative to tell the guy, ask the guy, what do you like to dance, and what we are doing, what tempo we are dancing to, so I can plan myself. Or sometimes what I do, I scan the guy to see what is the achievement of the way, so I understand. See, his body's coming to me on one, I know that we're dancing on one, at least in that first momentum. And then see, he start taking me a little bit more closer. It means that mostly, see, we're in the close position, he will kind of like take me on two. Yeah, so I kind of like study the first connection to understand what we are hitting in terms of tempo. But communication, everyone's know, even if they don't speak English, on one or on two, because are more like a general syllabus. Cuban salsa. So you say casino, it might be a little confusing for some people, but Cuban salsa, Colombian style, New York style, Los Angeles, or on one or on two, it doesn't matter the style. Yes. And then the person can have the idea already. Yes. So I guess it's nice to ask. It's nothing that you lose about. So you don't know, because you don't come from this word, it might be a little confusing. Like, for example, happens to me in the beginning. I come from Cuba and we dance anything. And then the people says to me, do you dance LA style? I'm like, what's that? I thought the salsa is salsa. And then he started to say, okay, just follow. And then I follow perfectly. And what was interesting, for me, the first introduction to the terms. And then little by little, I educate myself and I start learning. So now I can say that I'm an expert pretty much in all the styles. Yes, but in the beginning also was a surprise for me. Like, so you take a person from the street in Cuba, you say, do you like salsa, or do you dance, or do you know salsa New York style in Spanish? ¿Usted sabe la salsa estilo de Nueva York? They might say, maybe now with the internet and YouTube, they might, but they might say, I don't know. Or you can tell, ask the person in Colombia, por ejemplo, on the street, aparte de la salsa colombiana, ¿qué otra salsa usted conoce? And they might say, you might ask her or ask them, besides the Colombian salsa style, what other salsa do you might know? They say, I don't know, I just dance or whatever, or I don't know what you're talking about, because, they just, see, they exposed to one thing for their word. This is just what is exist. You know what I mean? It's not that it's not popular, but not everyone should know the terms, or they are related to the terms. Or we're not going to have empathy or take them or point, this person is stupid. No, because some people don't know the terms, and sometimes by any reason they are there. Most of these conventions happens on the hotels. So many people that they are never exposed to Latin dance before, they find out that if a party happening, they pay for the night. They just want to see what's going on, and they get the courage to dance. And then you ask them, you dance on one, you dance on two, they might don't know. And then I'm not going to feel, okay, this person is stupid because don't know the term. No, let's try to see what we can, let's have fun. That's what I said. It doesn't matter, don't worry. I just follow, so to make them feel comfortable. But some dancers also, they don't feel comfortable, or for marketing purpose, which is understandable, they like to dance on two. And then their brand is on two. And then so you tell them dance on one or Cuban salsa, they will leave you on the middle of the dance floor, which is, I don't think is fair. That's why communication, or ask the person, or you tell the person, listen, I dance on two. Do you dance on two? Because if you don't dance on two, we better don't, because I don't like, or I don't know to dance all the style that is beside on two. So before the action, you communicate. And then the person will tell you, yes, I dance on two, or I'm not that good, I'm a beginner. Do you mind to dance with me? Okay, let's try. Or you say, I'm sorry, I need to take lessons next time because I just dance on one. But it was a communication previously. Plus also the empathy. The only thing I know how to dance is on two. So you don't know how to dance on two, I'm sorry. That is a bad attitude there, a little bit snobby. So it's important, because remember, at the end of the day, we are a community. And then whatever affecting the community, at the end, it will affect me. and my business in case that I'm a professional. If everyone is happy, I will be happy as well, and my business will be successful.
It's funny that you brought it up because it happened to me.
No, it happens to me too.
You've covered everything. I didn't even have to ask a question, so that's perfect.
No, and also one more time, the mission, I know how much responsibility the Germans had, in terms of learning the patterns, know how to count, connecting to the music, relax in front of the person, the lady, and then take care of the dance, taking care of her on the dance floor, not to get hit by others. It's a lot of responsibility. One more time, the empathy, and it's a work that is a partnering work. So it means that see you feel good, you will perform good, and then I will be also connecting and having fun. See you feel uncomfortable, most of the time I will feel uncomfortable, and then the negative energy that we carry, it might be occurring some accident, maybe some injury my size or your size, or hitting the neighbors, the people who are around us. So, but see, I make you feel comfortable, and that's the point of social dancing, connecting and have a peace momentum, a nice momentum, and enjoy momentum for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of a song. That's the mission.
Yeah. Anything else would you like to add in closing?
Okay, last time we said that the most important part is to try, not to be perfect. I keep saying the same, try, but remember, if you want to have fun and make the person fun, see you want to enter to our community, try to find in Google, you can find any information on what dance schools is close by to you, and try to enjoy the classes, try to learn, so that way when you go to these big conventions, you can speak the same language and then have more communication and more fun with others. I guess that's my advice. Don't think it because you have it in your blood or it's part of your corpus or you're Latin, you have enough. Yes, you might say you feel okay with what crossbody lead and you do it good, and right turn, left turn, a chimmy, Susie Q, and then you're doing good with that and you feel okay with that. You can dance the same patterns with different ladies, and the entire night you will be having fun. But definitely, you get inspired when you see this convention people that they're doing other stuff. They kind of like hypnotize you and then force you to learn more. It's like you never stop. It's like you want more. It's like a drug. It is a drug, actually. You want more and more and more and more and more. You get more addicted to you and you need more. Yes. But if you do it once in a while, you will be fine with what you have. But yes, if you try previously, that will build your confidence, make you feel more connected, have a better communication with the person that you try to dance with. Instead of just trying movements, experiment in the dance floor, where can you injure when could be possible for you to injure person, people, or the lady that you're dancing with, or the ladies hitting or injure the guy as well. It is important to have a little responsibility as well about what we're doing and when we do it.
And then thank you again for
My pleasure.
Thank you for your honesty.
Thank you for the listeners, the people who will be watching us. I hope that you guys find this interesting and also helpful and educated. And I don't know how to say. Thank you so much. God bless you. Remember, you're very welcome to our Latin community worldwide. You don't have to be Latin. You can be from any culture, any age, any religion. You're more than welcome to come and experiment the beauty of Latin dance.
Thank you again.
Thank you.